Do you miss the old school Resident Evil and Silent Hill games? You know, that old school survival horror gameplay where you have fixed camera angles, pre-rendered backgrounds, and even tank controls that for one reason or another we absolutely loved back in the 90s and even the early 2000s. Do you still wish we had newer games like that to play but with modern graphics? Well, I have good news for you because that's what I want to focus on with this episode of Nerd Space Games. You see, believe it or not, there are some studios, mainly indie developers, that are working on some amazing upcoming old school survival horror games that are looking to release in the next year. Games that'll include those core mechanics of the genre we fell in love with back in the day, and will include features like limited resources, inventory management, and even puzzles, because you know what? I gotta have puzzles in my survival horror games. So my name is Ruben with Nerd Space Games, and here are the top 7 upcoming old school survival horror games releasing in the next year. Also, before we get started, please show some respect for each of these games. Just about all of the games on this list are being developed by indie studios, meaning these are not AAA developers. Most of these studios are not really in it to make a ton of money, but rather expressing the passion for old school survival horror genre that they fell in love with back in the day. And while I do have them ranked from the game I'm least excited for to the game I'm most excited for, the fact of the matter is that all of these games deserve some recognition, and each of them have amazing traits that I'm excited to explore more on its release. So with that out of the way, let's get right to it. Number 7, Heartworm. Heartworm looks to be a really interesting old school survival horror game because it has all of those old school survival horror traits while also having unique traits of its own. First off, you're going to have your fixed camera angles, of course, you're going to have your tank controls, and you're going to have your puzzles. Lots of puzzles that I experienced in the demo alone. However, what really makes this game stand out a little bit more is that it actually changed up the combat, because instead of using a traditional gun as a weapon, you are using a camera, and instead of using ammunition, you are using film, which kind of tells me that it's basically like a combination of Silent Hill meets Fatal Frame almost. Basically, you portray the character of Sam, who is obsessed with death after losing so many people close to her, and she decides to go to this abandoned house that is rumored to revive the dead, ultimately leading her into an alternate reality where static, mysterious figures are the enemies, and she has to fight back against them and try to escape. That's pretty much all we know about this game, and honestly, it's really exciting. Now, there is a demo available on Steam if you guys want to go check that out and kind of get a feel for what this game is really about. Like I said, it's a lot of fun, it's really exciting, and if you like Silent Hill and Fatal Frame, I think you're going to like how this one kind of meets in the middle. Number 6, Hollow Body. Hollow Body is pretty much film noir meets sci-fi meets survival horror. Yeah, it's an interesting combination of genres, but from the trailers, it seems like it actually works really well together. The game takes place in a very distant future where you portray Mika, who is a shipper working on the black market. And one day she actually goes on a job, and when she gets there, there is no one there. So she starts heading back, and suddenly there is a white light, and she winds up in a ruined old city after crashing down to the surface. And this is where the game really takes off, because you see a lot of interesting monster designs, lots of puzzles, and creepy old buildings that definitely remind me of, well, Silent Hill. And of course, it has all the core mechanics that you're looking for in an old school survival horror game, stuff like fixed camera angles, tank controls, and even the gameplay itself, especially the combat, reminds me of Silent Hill, to the point where you actually get a wooden plank to go and beat the monsters with. Does that sound familiar? Anyway, this game looks really exciting, and it seems like it has a really interesting mystery to be solved, but unfortunately there is no release date as of right now, and there is no demo available either. Hopefully we get a demo soon and a release date, but so far this game looks fantastic, and I'm very much excited for this game. Number 5, Ground Zero. So Ground Zero definitely gives me Daymare vibes. If you don't know what that is, Daymare was a love letter to Resident Evil 2, the original game, and definitely had a lot of similarities to that game. And Ground Zero seems to be doing the same thing, as it pretty much focuses on a small South Korean city that is the location of a meteor impact. And after this meteor strike, it seems like that the entire city has become infected and turned into these creatures and monsters, roaming around the city, and you have to battle your way through these creatures to escape. The mechanics definitely remind me of Daymare because of the different abilities and cyborg-like assassin abilities that the main character has, including in this game it seems like that there's a blade coming out of the boot of the playable character. But the reason why I include this on this list is because it definitely has the vibes of Resident Evil 2. But basically there's puzzle solving, inventory management, fixed camera angles, limited resources, and a city full of zombies, monsters all around the town, and you have to solve the mystery of this meteor while also trying to escape from these creatures. And to me, it seems like a really interesting survival horror experience that captures the essence of the old school genre that we all fell in love with. Unfortunately, there is no release date for this game yet, and there is no demo available. Hopefully we get more information on this game soon though. Number 4, Tormented Souls 2. Classic survival horror is back was the tagline of the prequel to this game, Tormented Souls. Tormented Souls focus on a character known as Carolyn, who is battling through monstrous creatures in a mansion, searching for twin girls that she's seen running around the location. But what's really unique about this game that makes it stand out more than just the other games on this list is that the original game focused a lot on time travel mechanics, where you would solve puzzles in one timeline and it would actually open opportunities in the present timeline. And I really love that aspect, and I wish they kind of explored that a little bit more in the original game because it wasn't done as much as I wanted it to be done. Now I'm hoping with this sequel that they're going to explore that a little bit more to make it stand out as its own independent identity, because you can definitely see that Tormented Souls try to kind of focus on that Silent Hill Resident Evil aesthetics, especially Silent Hill since it actually involved traveling back and forth between two versions of the same world. But I think where Tormented Souls really shine was its ability to actually use time travel as a really unique mechanic for puzzle solving. So I'm really excited for Tormented Souls 2 because I would like to see Tormented Souls 2 explore that a little bit more. And of course, I already mentioned this with other games, but you do have your fixed camera angles, tank controls, and even puzzle solving. I will say the original game though, puzzle solving that was a lot more difficult than pretty much any old school survival horror game puzzles I have seen in my life. Like, Tormented Souls has some really difficult puzzles, but you know what, that was some of my favorite parts about the game. So I'm extremely excited about this game. I'm really happy that the sequel is announced. I definitely didn't see it coming, and this is probably one of the most recent announced titles on this list because it was just announced at Gamescom last week. Anyways, how about you guys hit up the comments? Let me know if you played the original Tormented Souls, and if you haven't, go check it out and let me know what you think of it. Tormented Souls 2, as of right now, has a release date of Q2 of 2024, which means we don't have to wait too long for this game, and honestly, I'm counting down the days already. Number 3, Post Trauma. So another game that kind of features that Silent Hill vibe, but more specifically, probably Silent Hill 3 since it takes place a majority of the time inside a subway. This game focuses on Ramon, a train conductor who finds himself in an alternate dark reality of some sort inside the subway that he works at. Of course, this game features fixed camera angles, tank controls, and third-person perspective, but what makes this one stands out in my opinion is the puzzles. The puzzles are top-notch. Like, there is a demo available and I recommend playing it, but you only got to experience mainly 2 specific puzzles throughout that demo. And honestly, they really make you think. You have to think outside of the box, and you have to kind of figure things out by combining the surroundings with the riddle presented to you. Which is why it reminds me so much of Silent Hill, because Silent Hill was a game that was focused on 2 different realities as you go back and forth between a darker reality and the normal reality. But while doing so, you find yourself solving a lot of riddles, usually pertaining to the environment around you. And this game seems like it's going to focus a lot on that, which is why I see a lot of inspiration from Silent Hill coming into this game. Even the combat itself screams Silent Hill, as you have the mechanics of swinging your axe at the enemies, and it kind of looks very similar to James and Harry both swinging their little plank of wood at the enemies all over Silent Hill. So yeah, I'm really excited for this game. We just officially got a release time window finally for this game, and it looks like it's releasing in spring of 2024. Can't wait to get my hands on this. I've been excited for this game ever since it was announced at the 2022 Game Awards, and I'm very much looking forward to this game. Number 2, Echoes of the Living. So this game is literally Resident Evil 2, but with upgraded graphics. Like, honestly, if you're looking for that Resident Evil feel, I can't think of a better game than Echoes of the Living. The demo is available now, and what's great about the demo is that it has a lot to do in the game itself for the demo. I mean, you're able to explore a park, a bar, sewers. There's so many different locations just in the demo alone to explore that I can't imagine what the main game is going to look like. And that has me really excited. I keep comparing it to Resident Evil 2 because of the cosmetics, the music, and the feel of the game itself. But what really actually has me excited about this is that I think it's going to explore more into the Outbreak Files type of setup, because it's going to explore so many different locations inside the city. Resident Evil 2 was kind of like pulled into a singular location with the RPD station and the Umbrella Laboratory. And Resident Evil 3, while it did explore a few different locations throughout Raccoon City, I feel like the Outbreak Files is the only one that really kind of truly explored the entire city. And I feel like that's what Echoes of the Living is going to do. So imagine you get like a mix between Resident Evil 2 and the Outbreak Files and put them together, because I feel like that's what we're going to get with this game. Because honestly, the game seems massive in just the demo alone, so I can't imagine how massive this game is really going to be, and I'm extremely excited for this. If you love the original Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 games, and you're a fan of what the Outbreak Files explored, then there's no reason why you shouldn't love this game. Lots of different guns, limited resources, inventory management, fixed camera angle, tank controls, everything about this game screams old school Resident Evil. And what's great about this game is that it's supposed to release later this year. 2023 is the release date for Echoes of the Living. We don't have an official date yet, so that can easily get delayed, but my fingers are crossed that we're gonna see this hopefully probably in like November. Anyways, if you guys haven't yet, please head over to Steam, play this demo, because this game is phenomenal. Just the demo alone has me excited. So check that demo out, play it, and let me know what you guys think. Number 1, Paris Truth. Oh my god, guys, I don't think I've been this excited for an indie game in a really long time. This game looks incredible. So before I jump into the specifics of this, basically just know that this is old school survival horror gameplay, but meeting with zero escape narrative storytelling and the puzzle solving from those games. I feel like this game's gonna have a lot of twists, a lot of blind sides, a lot of big moments in the story itself, but that isn't the core mechanics of it, because it does take traits from that old school survival horror genre. You have your tank controls, you have your fixed camera angles, but imagine you actually had really good storytelling. And don't get me wrong, I love Resident Evil. The Resident Evil franchise is my favorite series of all time. But let's be completely honest here, guys. Resident Evil isn't the best when it comes to storytelling. However, a series that I feel like is incredible when it comes to storytelling is Zero Escape, and I feel like this game is taking a lot of traits and aspects from that game and bringing it into the survival horror genre, and that sounds pretty fucking amazing to me. So in this game, you're portrayed 10 different characters as they are locked on an abandoned island inside an abandoned facility, and they are battling zombies trying to escape within a limited amount of time, because if they run out of time, then they will be turned into a zombie as well. What's really interesting about this is that the only way they can escape and take off the bracelets that are going to turn them into zombies is if they kill 2 other members inside the facility, take their chips, and use that to kind of turn off their bracelet, which means it's going to be a Jigsaw level type of game throughout this story, and that has me extremely hyped. The demo was really exciting, not too much going on, not showcasing too much, just introducing you to one of the main characters. But guys, I'm really excited for this. I love the puzzles, I love the old school survival horror feel, and I love the Zero Escape meets Jigsaw type vibes I got with it. I am so excited for this game, and this is definitely the game I am most excited for out of all of these upcoming old school survival horror games. There is a demo available for this game, guys. I'm going to leave the link to it in the description below. It's not available on Steam, so make sure you guys click that link, you go try this game out, and let me know what you guys think of this game. But I'm extremely excited, and I can't wait to get my hands on this. Unfortunately, no release date yet, but hopefully we get one sometime soon. But that's going to do it for this episode of Nerd Space Games. Guys, hit up the comments, let me know which of these games are you most excited for. Classic survival horror is far from dead, and you can still find that classic horror feel, and plenty of video games are available now and are coming out soon. You just have to look for them. They're a little bit more difficult to find nowadays, but you can still find classic survival horror in video games. Anyways, thanks for tuning in on this episode of Nerd Space, and as always, I will see you on the next one. Take care.